Hello, everybody. Clap if you can hear me. Okay, make sure all this is completely set up perfectly. Built-in microphone. Let's see here. Yes, yes, yes. We can hear everything. I'd hate to make a whole video and find out that the sound doesn't work, which has been known to happen. But yes, hey everybody, Sassy Biggins here with Big Crafter. Uh, Yes, I made this. I try to make as much as I possibly can. Because I'm just a chronic crafty at heart. Just I pop on, say hey to everybody, uh, and just generally review anything crafting or crafty that's going on in my life, your life, across the entire craft verse, if you want to call it that. Whether it's, paying attention to the shutdown of Joann's, um, which doesn't affect me that much because I recycle so many things, and I know there will be a fabric shortage for all the quilters and anyone who likes sewing garments or just whatever. In the South, we have something called Hobby Lobby, which is almost the exact same as Joann's. They just have more householdy like things, and they seem to be doing well. I mean, the craft world in general, I think there's a little bit of a glut going on. Because, like, where I live, all in the same, like, 1 mile circle where there's, like, this huge mall, there's a Michael's, a Hobby Lobby, and a Joann's, all within walking distance, basically. So, are we suffering? Not really. The only type of suffering, I think, at least in my area, that we had about 3 years ago, there was a fabric store in the same parking lot as the Joann's. And that one clearly shut down from lack of sales. I mean, you could say this is a reflection of mass production from China in our society. A lot of people just don't make as much, or the cost is not effective for production, so therefore making things isn't worth it. Or the consumer doesn't want to pay the price of what the artist is making. Because we really have to see it as artist, creation, buyer. And if the supply is not fitting the demand, there you go. That's why Joann's is on its way out, because it's basically following. Ugh, let me put it this way: predominantly in their stores, it was more sewing orientated as far as how much square footage that they dedicated to that specific craft versus all the other ones. And this was possibly their downfall because every few years, it just fabric stores just don't seem to be making it. While you have places like Michael's and Hobby Lobby, which are more diversified, and that seems to be beneficial to them. It's working versus they're not shutting down stores. They're not heading for chapter 11 or 13. But it's also sad that, unfortunately, that the highest bid was one of the places that benefits from ripping things apart and tearing them down. But have no fear. There's many, many other options. Most of us shop online anyway. I mean, as much as I love to meander and wander and get my feels on as far as how soft things can be, um, even this is recycled sweater, so I guess you just have to get a little more creative with where things come from, or just reuse what we already have more proficiently. Like, there's a lady I follow on Instagram, and her whole business is basically washing 20 times old vintage wedding dresses and making them look new and refurbishing them and making them have a second life, because wedding dresses are usually only worn once and then they just hang around. But that doesn't mean that they're going to be great forever. And she kind of helps do that. There's a lot of fabric in dresses. Like, you take a big dress, you make a smaller dress. You start with something that's, hey, Vita and Vita. I gotta make sure I say that right. How you doing? But yeah, remaking things might be the wave of the crafting future. Or heck, turn doilies into wall hangings. That's what I do sometimes. So, will we miss Joanne's? Yes, but at the same time, it's his life. Glad to hear it. There shouldn't be a gap on. I didn't put a limiter, I don't think, on how much people can talk because YouTube lets you do that. I mean, I understand why they do it, but I have so few people on here. It's really kind of pointless. Oh, we're doing great here in Texas. It's a little bit overcast today. We really need the rain. Truly, truly, truly. I was also thinking about going over some of the YouTube numbers because I have a very small craft channel. And it's just always interesting to me, the algorithm, and just seeing what people want or seeing what YouTube claims people want. Or like it tells me about who's followed, but it only gives me like if it happened in the last 90 days. It's like I don't remember what happened that long ago. I really don't. But yes, I definitely think a lot more upcycling should come back into fashion. Because you can get a lot of good stuff as long as you take care of stuff carefully. Just because you're ripping stitches, as long as it's done right, you're good. Are you still in India, or am I confusing you with somebody else in Vita? I thought I sent you yarn a long time ago when I did a yarn giveaway. I think it was on cotton. It was actually, if I remember the one that it was actually good for hot climates. That's another thing. We need to design more stuff for hot climates. We need to rock the tank top more. Which I think I do have a pattern for that in my Etsy shop. Real boho style. Well, if anyone wants to support my crafting, a lot of my finished stuff's all in must have been a different person then. Okay. Because the other person I know got it. That's one thing I'm actually pretty good with. I may not always remember names the best. My pronunciation is questionable, but if they show up for the lives and stuff and we've talked, it like marks it in my memory and then I just don't forget stuff like that. Plus, like I said, I don't have that big of a following, so it's not like I can get people too confused because there's not that many to pick from. And I'm grateful for everyone. So, what projects are you working on, Invita? Yeah, this is just half of a neck warmer. You can't tell, but it's granny stitch. You see the holes a little bit, but it's the only way it can really work with a thicker chenille and for it to protect itself. Because when you rip apart a sweater with chenille, it pulls out a lot of the fiber. But if you use crochet, it's tight enough and it compensates for that. But yeah, I might as well get into it. Let's see, how do I want to do this? Let's see, present, share screen. All right, this is what they call my studio. This is, we'll go full screen on this one. A little bit better. Okay. Make sure this is lined up. Come on. This is what I normally see when I pull into my page. I did post a little short so that people would know I'd be going live, and nobody watched it. Nobody ever watched it. I've just made a boo-boo on a small knitting project and to the side. We'll pick it back up soon, as I know. Yeah, you have to be in the mood to correct things, especially if it's small stuff. I mean, sometimes I believe you should leave the boo-boo there so that you know that it's yours, but at the same time, if it's just going back a little bit, I'm anal retentive enough to where I can't leave it. I just can't. But yes, I have 393 subscribers, allegedly. I think half these, according to some of the other past subscribers, I don't know if all of them are real or bots or whatever, but the last few look real. So thank you, Liz Osborne, Angela Smith, and Betty Claggett, who also have small channels if anyone's interested. And then with the published videos, it's always interesting. Oh no, that's not. It does tell you about likes, views, and whatnot, but I do prefer the analytic parts. There we go. It says I've lost people. I've lost 8, which probably means they were not from America. I find that there's a lot of people who follow would just try to steal your ideas so that they don't have to use AI to make patterns. Perfect gifts do matter. Yep. Loops and threads yarn called the. No, I have not. I will look that up. Simile Lane. Let's see here. Okay. Well, it's not bad yarn. Does it have a lot of anti-pilling parts of it? Because that's the only thing usually with acrylic. Even if it feels like really soft wool, it tends to pill. Like this one is actually pilling quite a lot, but then I wear it a lot. But my views are up. My views are up. I'm up on watch time. If you want a lot of watch time, make a lot of tutorials. And my top content for this period, which I think was the last 90 days or 60 days, is the fast toe up sock one, a tutorial, the scrunchie video where you get to learn to make 3 scrunchies, me showing off some stuff I made. I'm not sure the crochet poncho if that was a tutorial or not. I think that was just a short. I don't think that was anything special. Beginner's Guide to Cotton Yarn, the crocheted cape tutorial, crochet bandana tutorial, crochet hook overview, just some stuff on the wall, and just me babbling like an idiot. Okay. It's perfect. eBay had quite a lot on there. Let's see if I go back from images. Let's see, petite. Claims Michael has some for about $9.99 a ball. Etsy claims to have some. Let's see. I don't know if you're picky about color, but let's see if I can copy this right. Now, I don't know if this is one ball or a lot of balls, so forgive me. I put it in the chat. That's from eBay. Nice purple color. That's for one skein. Shipping isn't too high. But definitely make an offer on that if you want it a little bit cheaper. One person has it in their cart. Wish I could find one that has like a big lot for you. Maybe this one. Ooh. There's a seller that has multiple items. 3 skeins. Come on, open. All right, I'm just going to put in the 1 for this one. Because this seller has other colors. There's 2 links to where it's on eBay. The second one is for a 3-pack. Assuming that is still the same exact one. Yeah, Wool Like Similane. And I don't know if international shipping will be too much, but it is around. Just gotta like usually if you buy other people's stashes, that's it's one of the ways I get Hobby when Hobby decides to not always make stuff. And Hobby's in what Netherlands, Denmark. But yeah, the last link, the lady had at least 2 or 3-pack lots of yarn, and they're not bad colors. So I don't know if you buy all of them, maybe we should give you a break on shipping. Okay. Y'all are definitely liking my videos more than my shorts, but I don't post many shorts. Up on subscribers. I have 65 returning viewers. Woohoo! For the last 28 days, I've had 703 views on my videos. Shorts, not so much, but I don't make that many. And 15 whole people for my lives. Beggars shouldn't be so picky. Like I said, it got you some good options. So the first one's just for one ball, but the second one, the lady had multiples and good colors. Oh yeah, totally. If I know something's good, or like there the purplish poncho thing that I made was 100% wool, but was made from something called Viking Balder yarn. I think they were discontinued in like the 60s or something because all their tones are from then, but you can't find their stuff hardly. There's like 2 or 3 balls a year, and they want like $1 million for it because they know it's discontinued and that it's real wool. So when I say that that particular poncho is a work of art with limited edition, that's not a joke. It's very, very real. That's the only problem with secondhand yarns is that you can't get more necessarily. Or some of the best projects were the ones where you were forced to only use what you had and making it work. Here's the part. I know they were talking about monetization. This is the graph that it uses to rate it to see if you're worthy, and I'm still not worthy, so. But it had 17,000 impressions, probably since the beginning of the channel. 59.5% from YouTube recommending your content. Good to know. With a 3.3% click through rate, which means very few of you actually click on it. Views from impressions 563, which means you saw my thumbnail and either clicked on it or just kept going. The average view is 3 minutes. I'm worth 3 minutes of everyone's time. Good to know. But from watch time from impressions is 30 hours. 30 hours of watch time of moi? Even my own mother wouldn't do that. But I'm sure it's spread out over thousands and thousands. Browse feature, which means if I got lucky, they found me, which is at 59%. And it's YouTube search and suggested video. Yep. Well, the links there are for that yarn exactly. And no one has reused my content to make new content. No surprise there. Yeah, I've only had 2 live streams to shorten a video. Haven't done much in a while. I'm still trying to think up more tutorial-like things to do. Last 28 days. What's the blue one? Yeah. This one video I did, I know my stuff hasn't gone viral, but this toe up twist sock one is just It's outdoing everybody by a long shot. Like last 28 days, 603 views, while the next closest one is like 49. I mean, I would make more videos on twist up socks, but there's really no point because there's only one way to make them. Stop that. And that is the fun and games of making a channel and having people. Oh, wait a minute. I should go back to share that. YouTube does try to inspire you to make things. Let's see. I'll go back to this. All right, did it show up? Now, this is where they try to tell you what kind of videos you can make to grow your channel. And we all love TL Yarn Crafts. Knitting House isn't too bad, but she always uses such small hooks for everything. That is a very beautiful granny square. But basically, if I made a video, it'd be just be copying that, and I ain't no copycat. Not doing it. Or it says to make a short using antique needlework floss tube. No, thank you. Addie knitting machine tutorials. No. I only like hats and scarves that come off of an Addie. The rest of it, I don't like the gauge, so no, thank you. And I have no clue who Handmade by Sarah is. I guess she likes floss tube, whatever the heck that is. She misspelled it. Okay. I have no idea what that is. I guess it's hand sewing of some kind. If we go into show all, Lancashire Stitcher pairs well with knitting. Just Keep Stitching, Marion's World, Crafty Floridian, Junie B. Jones, Read Aloud Along a Line. That might be interesting. Grace Cutie Tabletop Quilting Frame. No, don't do quilting. Don't know who Amy Dement is. Woobles Decrease Stitch. Woobles are still making the rounds. Don't care for them, but I know they're still making the rounds. Who is it? I wonder why they're suggesting this. What is or who is Amy Dement? Binding Magic. Quilting. Okay, she's a scrap quilter. Oh, I have one of those gripper things. Mine's a lot longer, so I don't have to bend over and pick stuff up. I'm not kidding. Oh, where is it? Did I move it again? It probably fell off of something. Oh, here it is. As I said, I'm lazy. It's also good if yarn balls fall on the floor and you don't want them to get too dirty. You just grab that. You just get them up as quickly as possible. I have done giveaways in the past. It all depends on how the channel is created. Like, I noticed that there's a lot of certain people pick certain structures when they make their channels. Like, you have those who do mostly tutorials, especially like the foreign people who English may not be their first language. They do a lot of faceless videos and just teach stuff. And then you have those who sell more of their personality and hey, I made this kind of way. Or then there's those who do it more from the informational research kind of way, where it's like, hey, I went to a yarn shop. Hey, this is a product review, and just how they try to focus in on their niche. And those who do more newsy, informational, personality stuff, they usually do all the giveaways and stuff, versus those that do more of just the tutorial, the faceless stuff, the kind of like the high end buy type of thing. And they also make a lot more videos than I do. So I'm still trying to find my swing, as they say. As soon as I either figure out a schedule or find a way to where I can make stuff more consistently, then I would definitely do giveaways and whatnot. But until that time, I don't have the base for it yet. I haven't put in enough effort for that to be fruitful. I have to trust myself a little bit more to actually accomplish the goal so that you all can trust me to show up for you versus I don't even remember the last time I did a live video on this channel. I've heard from other YouTubers that short and live video is the wave of the future. I have no proof, yes or no, to that, so I'm just playing with it until I know for sure. Or find a system that consistently increases subscribers and I can easily operate the output. Because making videos is a lot like crafting. You have a beginning, a middle, and an end, and can you do it a lot and consistently and have the quality that you're looking for? And you can't necessarily just rip it out if you make a video. Or there's a lot of editing involved and reposting, and it is production in itself, just like crochet or knitting is a production. And I'm still figuring out certain parts of it between working full time and personal things going on. And as soon as I'm consistent and you can trust me to be consistent, yes, I will do giveaways. I don't know if I advertise on YouTube. They're about 3 days behind on everything. I just have to be more consistent posting for it to be effective. Because I have a lot of really cutesy ideas. Like, I did get these small square boxes to where even if you had like good sized sample bits of recycled yarn, like the cottons and stuff, it's like make granny square kit or something. It's not like I don't have enough crochet hooks just sitting around. Because if anyone wants to go to my eBay store, which is big in the USA, I do resell many, 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 many craft supplies, not just finished projects or winter hats or scarves and shawls and everything. Or the really hard to find stuff that is delightfully wonderful. I don't know. I've been in the past. I did research on whether or not you should put giveaway in the title, because sometimes you only get people who just want stuff for free and they don't subscribe. That's why, like on the regular YouTube thing, it says you can limit it to people who can comment on your videos. They have to be a subscriber first, or that's why there's all those subscriptions that you can apply to on YouTube, where it's just subscriber content. they're like starting to mix in more and more things from oh, what the heck was that one called? Uh, I'll hit it. I'll remind myself later. But basically, if you have a subscription or just trying to contain and retain more people just to your page, and whatever monies they give, it just goes into that, and trying to get rid of the fly by night parts of giveaways. Now, if people like you already, they'll show up. Just, I don't want to just, it's like rewarding those who are faithful to you versus just getting the people who come and go with the wind. That is one true thing about social media. There are those who follow you for you, even if you don't have a lot of them. Quality is better than quantity, and I need to focus more on the quality before I'm too concerned about quantity. I like good folks. I like being able to at least show up semi regularly for those folks. That's why I started doing more tutorial type things, because I knew that I could consistently put out, edit it sufficiently, and also catch mistakes before I put it out, or rethink of things in new ways so that whether you're a visual learner or not, you can still follow along. I love these gray hooks by Red Heart. The enameling on them is wonderful. And they don't make them anymore. And yes, I asked Red Heart all about it. And they had no idea what that guy was talking about. Even was it Bagwell Day? I know she did giveaways for a long time. Like it was yarn and a little USB thing with hundreds of her patterns on it. Um, I don't know why she stopped, but they were also up against a lot of the TikTok generation. I mean, I do like sharing in people's craft journeys to see things through from beginning to end. Like, I cannot wait because I think I might finally now be on the last ball for this one. I hope, I hope, I hope, I hope. Because it's almost long enough to go all the way around me. Almost. All right, now it's only what, 5 foot maybe? 5 foot long? We have another person. Yay. I know Alt Knots goes live a lot as far as reaching out, staying in communication. Communication is the key of the future, I'm told. You didn't see that. But yes, as it says below, don't forget to like, follow, or subscribe, and to share. Sharing is caring. I actually had a lot more to say than I thought I was going to say. Usually after the first 15 minutes, I'm like, okay, I'm done peopling now. And also waiting to see if my mother texts me back. Grandmama, who taught me how to knit and crochet, is not doing well. So we'll see if she finally gives up the ghost. Because then I definitely won't be making content if I have to go to a funeral. So, I was thinking about it a little bit earlier today. I mean, I know funerals are sad and everything, but I've already gotten everything I've ever wanted from childhood and whatnot. And I think I started grieving her loss when I'd call her and she wouldn't be herself. And she'd always talk about the family like we were this long forgotten foreign thing. And I mean, she still had Aunt Carol visiting her every day, so it's not like she was without family. But when you can't have a conversation with someone because they're just so far gone, it's like, okay. The end is nigh, I believe the term is. But yeah, I had to beg grandma to teach me how to knit and crochet because my own mother was one of the tomboys and she didn't learn to cook until she got married. And then any other craft stuff was all self taught, or one person had a book open and said, hey, do this, and then follow the list of instructions. It's such a process when you grieve a grandparent. Mine almost 2 years ago, and it's still a sucker punch some days. Well, I wouldn't say this because she's been declining a lot faster in the last year, so it's not like I didn't see this coming. And obviously, her house was sold. All the other relatives took care of it because I'm the only one in Texas. They're all back east. They got all the furniture that they wanted. They took everything apart. Make sure she was well taken care of. But when I was a teenager, she went through one of her Marie Kondo phases and was just completely stripping everything out of the house and whatnot because she just didn't want clutter. And I got a lot of her seashells. She was a big, big collector from all the years of going down to Florida. And my family is very good at shelling. I'm not just talking about like the big ones in mint condition. Some of the really, really small ones, just massive amounts of shells and every single different kind in perfect specimen. So those are the only things I ever wanted from her as far as inheritance goes, and I've had those for years. Or I have her little wooden pencil box that she had in school that had a lock on it. It's cedar wood, and I don't think the rest of the family knows that. It's just more sentimental than anything. And like I still have my great grandmother's jewelry box that she got in Italy from her honeymoon. And I'm kind of glad that I've had all these things because about, what was it, 9 years ago? It was almost 9 years ago when my parents' house burned down. So, as far as family heirloom, for the 3 or 4 things that I have, that's more than anybody else, as far as I know, unless they got a lot out of my grandmother's house. I have everything I want, and I have everything that's the most nostalgic. And I said she's the one that taught me to knit and crochet. And I'm only going to keep all the good memories so that there's nothing. Death doesn't have to be bad if you don't let it be. And she's lived a good long life. And she's always tried to do good no matter what. So if everything is all good, where's the grief? I mean, I'm the one that lives in Texas, so I don't normally see them anyway. I mean, we still talk and whatnot, but sometimes the beauty is still in the past, and sometimes leaving everything there is just you want to leave people in their best light. So I do. At least that's how I process things. Or I don't know how other people see things spiritually. It's just like it's like you'll see them later. They're just not here for now, and you'll see them later. How long later is very, very subjective, but we'll see them later. You remember all the good things about them, the joy they brought you, the things that they taught you. You're not going to forget that. No matter how forgetful, no matter how old the mind gets, I think it just leaves more room for the soul. And when they're using their soul per se more to do their thinking for them, especially with old people, it becomes like a truth. And it allows the real them to like you hold your spirit doesn't forget things. I know they say your mind doesn't forget, but the spirit doesn't forget goodness. The spirit doesn't forget kindness. And that's kind of how you can identify people as well. Now, if they ever lose it, obviously they'll be hard to find, but goodness is goodness. You never truly lose it. Or hopefully you become even more kind and more gracious and more humble. For the meek shall inherit the earth. Allegedly. I think they do, but let me see here. Let me go to the main screen. Let's see. I don't know if they do on live. Yeah, there's a thumbs up thing at the bottom. At least on mine there is. I don't know about yours. I don't know if they do in the chat, or unless that's a after it goes live kind of thing. Man, one of the bigger gut punches I had, like, don't get me wrong, I love my grandmother. She was a great woman. I will remember many, many things from her. But when my aunt died, I was a lot closer per se with her. Like I was close to my grandmother, especially when I was younger, but the last few years, this one particular aunt said some very relevant things to me, and She's the only one in my family who thought the way that she did. And because of her perspective, it you just can't forget things. When things are that dead on, exact, perfect in the moment, you don't forget them. And she really showed up for me. I mean, even though we knew for a couple of years that she had cancer, plus her kids had just started going to college, and I know it slightly shook her kids because she died early 50s, late 40s. But they all have good lives now. They're doing okay. Just keeping an eye on them for on her behalf. And just making sure everyone is still mentally healthy no matter what happens. Because, like, even though I'm well adjusted, part of the side of everyone should take care of their families, but also to make sure, like, I may not be physically there, but I am always the first person to call and say, do you need help? Do you want to talk about this? Don't do anything stupid. Especially when the house burned down. I was calling my mom like every 2 days. It's like, you need anything? Do I need to hop on a plane? Yeah, sure. Or I knew when the house burned down because my youngest sister was still a teenager at the time. One of her favorite necklaces was one that I sent. It was one of those glass merino heart pendants where it looked like a blue starburst in the middle. Family's up the scattered between New Jersey, New York, and Pennsylvania, and New Hampshire. They're all up in that neck of the woods. And maybe one more relative in Vermont. But yeah, when the house burned down, the first thing I did was I sent my sister 3 glass merino pendants because I know hers got burned. My mom's like, she never takes them off. Definitely elsewhere. I got 15 years New Jersey, 12 years New Hampshire. Let's see, 14 years in Texas. And 40 plus years as an asshole. That's one thing about Jersey is that it truly is a melting pot. And you have South versus North still up there, mixed in with every single immigrant who's walked through. So that in itself is extremely diversified. And back when you could still use culturally appropriated isms for the name for the sake of humor. Basically, everyone knew you were honoring a culture by doing it, but at the same time, nowadays they call it making fun of stuff. But we all knew, like, all the Indian people would be in their own group, and you'd copy all their accents and stuff, and or all the Mexicans, or all the Puerto Ricans, or anyone from the ghetto, and just you really got to enjoy the whole swath of humanity and make fun of everything equally. Or my favorite is always like the people who talk with slightly better English, and then when they go and quote one of their family members who clearly was not in the country as long. Or, of course, the other favorite, making fun of Southerners. Just don't do it if they have a gun on them. Because in Texas, they might. Especially since they passed that concealed carry for everybody. At least now they're pushing more for school choice. Not that I have children, but for anyone who does, God bless. Good old Joyzy. Actually, I think some of the older accents, especially if it's more like the Brooklyn Bronx kind of slang, it's dying out. It really is. It's getting harder and harder to find like a dyed in the wool hard New Yorker. Even watching if anyone watches SVU, Special Victims Unit from Law and Order, especially if you in the middles of the series, there's so many character actors on that show. I swear it's like if you're an actor in New York, every single one of them has had some kind of stint on SVU. But you can tell who the real locals are because usually you can hear it in their accent, just the littlest twang of New York. You'll do one or two words and it's like, knew it. But as the series goes on, it kind of gets watered down a little bit. And to quote John Travolta's mother, so you don't sound like white trash. It's like just because you're from the burbs doesn't mean you're white trash. Well, if everybody's done talking. How long did I go for? Oh, almost an hour. Miracle. All right, time for me to close up shop. Everyone said what they've wanted to say. I'm not trying to get out of here too quickly because I know that if you go and type something, it takes forever for it to load up, and then like as I hit end stream, it'll like pop up. Trying to not do that. Are you back to you? I don't know what Bic Ming is. Oh, back to making? Well, I've made them, it's just some have been tutorials, so that tutorials require a lot of editing. Like, even if a video is like 30 minutes, that video is probably originally an hour and a half, cut down to only 30 minutes, and I kept all the relevant parts. I've always been on YouTube, just life gets in the way, and I've had to work a lot more outside of it because that's where the money is. But I'm going to try and get some type of consistent schedule, or at least one day a week, just go live at least, versus just always doing those faceless videos for tutorials. I'm trying. Instagram is my guilty pleasure. Plus, supposedly, the shorts, long term tutorials do better on YouTube, even though I don't make as many of them, while the shorts always do better on Instagram. That's why I don't usually post them on YouTube, so that as a viewer, I don't want to flood you with the same information over and over again, which I'm sure is boring as hell. So it's like, But I already watched it. Why am I watching this crap 3-4 times across multiple platforms? I know that on my other YouTube channel that shorts do get more eyeballs, but they won't help long term as far as monetization. So, working on it. Waking. Plus hubby's in between jobs, so we'll see. But I would love to be, I don't like the word influencer because I trust people to make up their own minds. But if I can get paid to talk to people, yeah, I usually don't share it because craft people are craft people. Slightly more politically affiliated people don't do crafts, and I don't want to muddy the water too much. Like, if you like me, great. This is just crafting. No opinion. And then the other one, I can go crazy and say whatever the heck I want. Where if you call it comedy, you don't have to be as accurate or truthful. But you get to laugh a lot at some really crazy stuff. Okay. Have a good one, folks. I'll try to make a video, tell you I'm coming next. Peace out.